Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's Will from WC Review. And I was in the middle, about 3 minutes into making a video before, and my lovely wife walked in, and I had to start over again. So I don't know where to start or begin or where I'm going to end with this, but the title of this is going to be The Thick and Thin of It. And it's pretty much about my journey through the knife game where, I was all into one type of knife for the longest time. And basically, this is the knife that got me started with it all. It's an artisan cutlery. It's a classic knife. And I had a regular blade, and then I wound up going big bucks for the Damascus blade. This was $149, and it was the most I'd ever spent on a knife. But this knife to this day is still just a great, great knife. It moves, it's on bearings. Artisan cutlery is great stuff, and I happen to love their stuff. But this is where it all started. The other knife I got was like $59.99, and this is the other knife that got it all started, the Proponent, right? I got this knife for $59.99, and it's all brass or copper. I think this is copper, and I think Dave has the brass. But I had gifted Dave, I had two of these, so I gifted Dave one of them because he's just an awesome guy. And we've had so many trades where, I felt like I'd come out on the better end of the trade. So I gifted one of these to Dave. I know he uses it to this day, but this is a badass fucking knife. This knife is, to this day, it's something I use. It's a little bit of a tank, but it's thick, right? So that's the point I'm making. And then as I learned and progressed and got my knowledge about knives a little bit, the be-all, end-all for me was the Fat Daddy. And I finally, however I did it, I saved up enough money, and I ordered my Fat Daddy, and I was, I used to go to bed at night thinking about this thing. I couldn't, all I wanted was a .26 blade. So I got the knife. It was a gold Predator sculpt knife. If you go to my videos, you'll see it. And it had the Vulcan blade, which looked just amazing. And I got the knife, and I was both thrilled and disappointed at the same time. First, the knife was much lighter than I expected it to be because of the titanium handle, and it was much thinner than I was hoping it would be because of the sculpting and the amount of material that got removed. So finally, lo and behold, I just recently got this. This is the Fat Daddy that I always wanted. The full thickness, I wanted the full beef of everything. I wanted the .26 blade, and I wanted the big badass, 3/16 handles, and this is it, right? So I got this from my buddy Bob, but this is the Fat Daddy that I always wanted. And the point I'm making is I got my .26 blade, and I've tried to use the knife a few times, and it's a great knife. I mean, you could dig holes with this knife. Not that you'd ever want to do that, but this is a sharpened pry bar, as they say. This is a badass knife. But as far as making it a user all the time and cutting things, this knife, again, it comes down to learning about edge geometry and blade geometry. This is a wedge, right? So another thing I did was I got a fixed blade that I always wanted with the .26 blade, the deep, right? And I went to use this knife. I had even posted about it, that I tried to use it cutting up some potatoes when I wanted to use it for something, right? So I was making mashed potatoes one day, and I tried cutting the potatoes with this knife, and it was absolutely not the right knife. And one of the guys commented that I sounded crazy saying I wanted to cut, like, really? I sounded crazy wanting to use a knife to cut potatoes? It turns out he's right that it's too thick, but it's a knife, and it cuts things, and it just turns out that this was not the right application for that knife. They call it a dive knife, but it's for whatever you want to use. I would not use it to cut up an apple, but you can use it to cut all sorts of other things. It's a knife. My point is, there's different applications, and for a while I was so stubborn, all I wanted was thick blades. I had to have it, so I got my Husky. Here's my custom Husky. So I got this thick knife. Look at that. I still love this knife. And I do use it, but I've learned to use it and carry it for things and times that I want to. I have another gray Husky just like this, but I happen to love Jake Hoback knives. I love this particular knife, and I have one more Hoback. I have a couple of Hobacks, but one more that I wanted to share with you. Yeah, the Quebec, the real U.S.-made full tie koi back. This is a really, really cool knife. So thank you, Carco Chris, for this. We did a trade for this, and I've got a trade coming up that you'll hear about it. I ain't gonna spoil it, but it's the biggest trade I ever did. It's between me and Dave, and I'm so fucking excited. So back on to thick and thin knives. So there's the thick, and now I'll show you the thin, the knife that I just got, the Norseman. This knife is another beauty. Look how thin that is, though. I love it. The knife, this is a knife you want to sit and cut an apple with. Or you could use this for food prep if you wanted to, but I have the proper knives for that. I have kitchen knives and stuff. But if I was ever out somewhere and I needed to, cut an apple up or do something like that, this would be the knife that I'd use, not the Fat Daddy. So this is a perfect example of a beautiful thin knife for thin blade applications. And I love the knife. And it's really an opportunity for me to share my collection with you guys. Then you've got the Spartan Harzy, right? This is a plain one. This is another knife I highly recommend. This is an all-around great user. You can use it for both hard use tasks, and if you want, let's use cutting an apple as a kind of a dainty task, but a food prep type thing. I could cut potatoes with this as well if I so choose, without looking crazy, if you will. Here's another one of my Spartan Harzys, the bronze and DLC Magna Cut. This is a great knife. I love this knife. So again, just showing you knives, talking about them. Then I've got here's the other one, the boatman. I forget what the fuck it's called, but also Magna Cut. Great knife. Love these knives. And let's see, I showed you that. Then I learned about Hinderer. Gotta love the XM24. That was part of the trade that Dave and I did. I won't go any further than that, but it's pretty epic. I'm dying to see Dave's video today. It's going to be epic. I look forward to his videos every week, but I don't know if he's even going to mention our dealings, because it's fresh and it's not complete yet. But whatchamacallit, he's got an epic collection, and Dave's just a great guy. Anyone who knows him speaks highly of him. Here's another great thin application use knife, Chris Reeve Large and Cosi. Problem with this, not big enough. But as far as everything else about it, I know Chris Reeve's motto and mission is to make the perfect pocket knife, and boy, he sure came close. It's just damn near perfect as far as I'm concerned. I just wish it was a little bigger. Other than that, great knife. Here is another. I failed to mention this before. The Summit, another great holdback. This is like 0.19, I think, but it comes down real thin behind the edge. You could do a lot of slicing with this knife. It's very sharp and it's slim. It fits really nicely in the pocket. I don't carry this knife enough. I really love this knife. It's different looking, but when you handle it, the action on this is outrageous. I absolutely love this knife. Then you've got knives like this. This is a knife where I would say it's just a shit ton of blade that comes out of a small-looking gentleman knife handle, and it's the Chavez Redemption 229. Like, look at the knife right there, right? Nice. And then the blade comes out, and look at all that blade that's hidden in there. It kind of is deceiving in a way. This is a great knife. It's a smaller knife. It carries great, but it's got lots of blade. Very slicey, nice hollow grind with the beautiful swedge up here. You look at it like that, it's just an awesome knife. And you've got some thickness here at the tip if you need to do any kind of, I don't really have any hard use at all, but if you need to do any kind of, tough cutting, this knife can handle it. This is a great hard use knife. I got the drop point, and I got the Tanto. The Tanto is just another aggressive looking, beautiful. They're both full tie. The other one's blue, and this is obviously gray. But the Redemption was my particular personal choice for Chavez. I like I can't think of it right now, but there's another, is it Liberty? I can't think of it. But I love the way that the Chavez knives look. It's very similar to this knife. But I do love Chavez knives. And then, of course, you get into the Medfords. And I'm probably going to do a collection video again. But this, if it's not my most famous, my most favorite, it's at the top of it. And look who it is, Lorenzo. It's one of my most favorite knives, and this is the Anbele from Greg Medford. I love Medford knives. They're probably my favorite. He's at the top of the heap. Where is the other knife? I don't. Oh, here it is. This was part of the trade that Dave and I are in the middle of executing. But look at this, beautiful fighter flipper. Nah, that was not fair. The knife is mint. It's in S35 VN, and just a beautiful knife. I love this knife. Again, this is kind of middle of the road. It's thick enough to do. It's really. This is a tough knife, but the hollow grind comes down nice and thin behind the edge that it can be slicey as well. It's an all around awesome knife. I have another fighter flipper that I had gotten from my buddy that I just love. Ryan, my buddy Ryan. I was drawing a blank. But this is the scorched earth version. I love the handle. I do not like the finish for the reason that, Aaron says he doesn't like coated blades, and it's for this reason. I was whittling a stick. You'd think I was using this for 5 years of hard use, but I was whittling a stick, and that's what happened. I'm wondering if I can wipe it down and see if I can make that go away, but I'd like to get this blade tumbled and have this finish handle on it. But one day, for right now, it's just a great knife that I do carry it. And really that's about it. The thick and thin of it is there are different blades for different applications. Everybody knows that. I'm not trying to teach anybody that. But it's really more about what I've learned about blade geometry and using the right knife for the right task. And getting away from all I wanted was big fat bruisers. I guess my taste is changing to where I like having a Norseman, and I like having a Chris Reeve. I like having all different knives at my disposal. So if I want to slice something, I can do it. And if I want to, cut something and have some hard use, I can do it. And I've diversified my collection in such a way that I enjoy having all the different knives. And I think it's, Rob, Udachak, Dave, Steve, Aaron, Ryan, all the guys that I talk to most, we've all agreed the best part of the knives is the wheeling and dealing, is the trading, talking about it, and the anticipation of receiving it, right? That, to me, that's the best part. Oh, I can't not talk about this. The one knife that I have become crazy about and that I just can't get enough of, that is the perfect all-around knife for me, is the SMF Performance Series Strider. I understand why everybody goes crazy. This is definitely my all-time favorite all-around knife. I have other favorites. The Anbele is my favorite Medford, but the Performance Series is my favorite Strider. Hold on. We're in 13 minutes, but I have to get up. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So I got the tumbled full tie SMF, and then I got the Digicam in MagnaCut. And these two are among my favorite knives to have and to carry, and they're also the best all-around knives to have and to use. And as far as fitting in the hand, someone asked the question. Sorry, I'm moving the camera. Forgive me. The best fit and feel in the hand of all of my knives is this, the SMF Performance Series. And I don't know if you can already see it or think about it, but it's the knife I opened up with, the TFF1. Be it the TFF1 or the TFF1 Fat Daddy or the H, this knife molds. And I have pretty big hands, but this knife, the way it fits in your hand, I don't have a knife that fits better. This and the Strider knives, the SMF, is perfect for my size hand. I'm not going to talk about the other knives, but one of them might, or two of them might be Striders that we're talking about in our trade, but that's not complete yet. So I'll hold off. Next weekend, I'll do my video on how that came about if I happen to have received them by then. But best in hand, TFF1 and SMF Strider. The other ones are great, but those are the best. So I'm up to 15 minutes. So I'm going to cut it for now, and I'll definitely be making some more stuff later. But the thick and thin of it is I've learned a lot through my knife journey, and there's a lot more to learn, and I love talking about it and listening to it. So if you've made it this far, thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.